Welcome to the Awakened Human Podcast, the place to be for highly progressive, yet extremely grounded intuitive guidance, energetic support, metaphysical tools, and higher consciousness for highly successful, ambitious, soul-centered visionaries and leaders like you who want to make a global impact and achieve your highest fulfillment by aligning with your soul's true divine agenda and your role in God's plan of lighted creation, and by utilizing your divine gifts, talents, and abilities from the higher realms. We do this by working with the non-physical realms of higher guidance, energy, intuition, and powerful metaphysical tools for healing and transformation. We understand that the real change and transformation that's being called for on planet Earth and in our own lives and our own businesses doesn't come from outside of us, but rather from within. And that the change that we desire to experience in our lives and in our world requires us to change from the inside. I'm your host, Lori Ann Spagna. I'm a best-selling author, spiritual catalyst, intuitive, energy worker, ascension guide, multidimensional channel, animal communicator, visionary, lightworker, and luminary. I have dedicated my entire professional life to helping thousands and thousands of humans and animals all over the world in service and contribution to the light, which is the expansion, the upliftment, the evolution of humanity, to awaken, to uplift, and to align with our true divine source, which exists within each and every one of us. It is my passion, joy, and purpose to share this information, energy, and consciousness with you. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing time with me. Let's get started. Well, welcome back to the Awakened Elevated Human. I'm your host, Lori Ann Spagna, here with you today. We're going to chat about getting off the hamster wheel. I'm super excited about this conversation today because so many elevated leaders, light leaders, evolutionary leaders like you have experienced the hamster wheel of life and are attempting to get off at this time. So we're going to do two side-by-side conversations about what this hamster wheel is and what it means, how it shows up in our lives and our businesses, and how it interferes with us moving forward in terms of our career, mission, service, and contribution in the world, and in terms of our personal, professional lives, and even in terms of our spiritual progress. So first, let me define what I mean by hamster wheel and why I'm saying there's two different kind of tracks of this. There's the hamster wheel in the physical world where we physically are doing the same thing over and over again and not really getting anywhere. And as business entrepreneurs, light leaders, visionaries, evolutionary leaders in this world, we are here because we are deeply called and deeply inspired to contribute, to leave some kind of legacy for the people who are still in the world on their hamster wheels or struggling through their life. And so that we have some kind of solution to bring forward, and we feel deeply called to it and highly motivated and inspired. And in so doing, we're sort of relentlessly working. And so in the physical world, we can start to have experiences where we're on this hamster wheel, doing, endlessly posting on social media, endlessly applying to podcasts or doing podcasts, or endlessly attempting to get out there and get this message heard because we're so deeply inspired and we have something so important that matters in the world. We're endlessly taking marketing classes or strategy classes to try to give us the next strategy, or endlessly posting on vision boards, right? Or endlessly doing meditations and visualization. And we're on this sort of hamster wheel because we reach these points where we're like, okay, I'm doing all the things that I'm meant to be doing, and I'm still getting the same results. So that's the physical world. I realized I had reached a whole new level of my own hamster wheel when, after a year in a very high-end mentorship program that I've been in on business, marketing, leadership, my coach, I asked her for some help with something on that I was working in my business. And she told me to do everything that she told me to do when I first entered the program, that now by the end of the year, I'm already doing. And when she said that, I was like, she's not aware of all the things I'm now doing as a result of, like, she doesn't realize it. And it's time for me to move on, because if she doesn't know all the things I'm doing and she's telling me to do the same things that I was doing a year ago, when I started the program and started doing, as much as I love and adore her, then she really isn't my route coach anymore, because she's just telling me to do more of the same things. And I've already gotten the results out of those things, right? So that's the first kind of hamster wheel, I mean. And that's important to know, that when you're doing, and you're taking another class and another program and signing up for another retreat or another this, another that, and it's not really giving you progress or getting you any further, and you're doing the same things, posting endlessly on social media, posting endlessly, you know what all those things are. One of the greatest frustrations I've heard from very spiritually progressive people is that they feel like, why aren't they making the progress? They're doing all the things they're meant to do in the metaphysical world. They're doing all their visioning. They're doing all their affirmations. They're doing all their vision boards. They're listening to the hypnosis CDs, and it's still, they're not really making the traction. Okay, that is a hamster wheel experience. And that's the kind of hamster wheel experience in the physical world. Now, I want to talk about the other kind of hamster wheel experience, which is perhaps even, in a way, if you're going to say worse or better. So let's talk about the second kind of hamster wheel experience, which perhaps could be perceived to be somewhat even, if we're going to compare it as better or worse, this would be maybe even worse and yet less obvious. And that kind of hamster wheel experience that I'm referring to is the soul's journey and the soul's experience. And this is where the soul, as a being that's progressing through many incarnations, is wanting to make some form of progress. And in wanting to make that progress, the soul creates experiences in their life that will recreate the experience over and over and over again, so that the soul starts to realize the pattern and make appropriate change. And what happens with this kind of hamster wheel experience is that the intensity of the pain that the soul is going through, it's not the soul that's going through it, it's the human in the physical world, or the animal is going through, intensifies. I'm going to give an example. Inside of my sacred mentorship, one of our group members recently shared about an experience that this person was having that was extremely painful to this person, regarding this person's desire to help animals. And this is not a new experience for this person. Over and over and over again, this person has attempted to serve and help animals. And over and over again, it either pushed this person's own personal limits of health and well-being, or else some kind of harm or detriment ended up coming to the animals involved. And there was so much pain associated with it. This happens a lot of times with people who try to help animals, by the way. It happened to me too in Maui, this kind of thing, that there's so much pain associated with just trying to help, and the hardship that comes out of it, that it almost becomes impossible to continue to help. And in this case, the person's physical health is breaking down. Now, that is a soul agenda to get the person off the hamster wheel of continuously putting the needs of others before the need of the self, to such a degree that the self body starts to break down, the person's health, overall health. This is a very big theme. In fact, there's a lot of people inside of our sacred mentorship that are working through this kind of theme, where they're helping others, because we are so mission driven, us light leaders, us evolutionary leaders, right? And we are so service oriented, and we care so deeply, and we give so much. We're always giving, that we're not always balancing that out with fair reciprocity, receiving and allowing, right? So the point is that kind of hamster wheel experience, and that's just one example, It will break us down until we finally get to the point where we realize, I cannot keep doing it this way. So that kind of a hamster wheel experience is a kind of hamster wheel experience that pushes you when you're going through something like that. It pushes you to the absolute limits if you've had that experience so many times and it's just another play of basically the same thing in a different way. I want to give you just a few, at least two examples, at least two, maybe three examples of how this plays out on the world stage. For example, a global pandemic could easily be something that was a plague in another reality. The plague might have only affected a particular geographical area or a particular group of individuals who were affected by it and did not resolve the issues. And a hamster wheel type of experience then could escalate into more disease, more decay, and eventually, potentially, a global pandemic. Another great example, even in our lifetimes alone, we could see where there was financial crises. And then, for example, 2008, we had financial collapse, and then that's sort of playing out again in various ways over the last couple of years, since after the money was handed out left and right to everybody and filtered back up, now the gap between wealthy and poor is expanded. And so there's more struggle for more people. Okay, so this is a hamster wheel experience because the experience is being recreated a second time, a third time, a fifth time, a 20th time. Every time the hamster wheel is recreated or happens again, it intensifies, gets more obvious. So I'm only giving two examples here, but there are so many others. Another great example is, let's say people are locked down or locked up. We could say, for example, World War II in a concentration camp. That kind of experience, if it's not resolved and the trauma of it is not resolved, it can recreate itself as a global lockdown. You see, this may seem too far stretched for some people, but what I am more than suggesting, I am overtly saying, is that when we don't heal and resolve aspects of our unconscious, things that we're unconscious of, it escalates and perpetuates and becomes a kind of hamster wheel experience. I also call this a looping pattern, or we could call it like Groundhog's Day. I refer to these a lot in a lot of my teachings. And the point is, we want to get off of those hamster wheels. We know it, whether it's in our physical earthly experience, where we just start realizing we're doing something over and over again and it's not getting us the results we want, or whether it's something related to the soul's journey and the progress that the soul wants to make in terms of clearing, healing, and resolving something, and it's perpetuating over and over and over again. Another example is just alcoholism, which you guys know I have worked through that in my family lineage, and any form of addiction. That issue will come up over and over and over again so that the soul can address what's underneath there. And by the way, when you're talking about addictions, almost always what's at the root of that has to do with some form of worthiness, deservability, self-love, self-care, self-worth, and the absence of the love or the care that was needed and is being, band-aided through some form of, alcohol, drugs, sugar, food, spending, sex, etc. Regardless, that's a little bit of a detour. The point is when the soul has an agenda and it wants to resolve something, it will continue to heighten that issue over and over again until the human free will takes notice and recognizes this is something that requires change. And this is happening across the planet now. So for those of us who are visionaries and light leaders, we of course have to make those changes within ourselves, both so that we can thrive in business and also so that we can thrive in our personal lives and live healthy, well-adjusted, balanced lives, live in harmony with ourselves, with our bodies, and with all that is. That's the goal, right? You didn't become a visionary light leader, visionary leader so that you could work endlessly and get nowhere. right? You didn't become a visionary light leader just so that you could serve the world and have a crappy life, right? You came here to make a difference and to have a great life. And you deserve that. You deserve that. You are worthy of that. And it's possible for you. But it does require these kinds of hamster wheel experiences to be somehow addressed and resolved. If we don't address them, they become a form of spiritual bypassing or carpet sweeping, as I often refer to it. Now, you've heard that saying. I think it's Oprah or Maya Angelou who made that very famous saying, and I'm not going to quote it exactly, but it's something like first you get the whisper, then you get the scream, then you get the push and the shove, right? That's how the higher intelligence of the universe speaks to us. So the sooner we can recognize the hamster wheel experiences in our lives, the less it has to escalate and the less we keep spinning our wheels, engaging in looping patterns and getting nowhere. This is what is often referred to by people as their blind spots, by the way. When people talk about their blind spots, it's because they're missing what it is in their own hamster wheel journey that they don't necessarily know what it is yet, or they don't necessarily see the hamster wheel, or they don't necessarily see the patterning that's perpetuating in their lives. And I think this is why it is so important to have a high level mentor who can help you identify those things and see them in yourself, in your life, and the patterns, and start to understand what's at the deeper fundamental root levels. Because look, when you're talking about hamster wheel experiences on a soul level, that means absolutely, without question, mindset alone will not solve that issue, right? When you're talking about a hamster level experience, it's either progressed so much that it is far beyond the mental plane. It's linked into the karmic, dharmic patterns that somebody is here to address. And even if it's on just the physical level, more or less, from the patterns that we do and the things we're doing, some regular strategy coach or marketing coach or business coach or some new marketing program or some new affirmation is not going to change it for you because you've already started to get into those patterns of doing. And what's required is a bigger energetic shift. And if we're talking about unconscious patterns and ways of operating that we keep looping and doing the same thing over and over again, not only do we usually really need the help of some kind of coach or mentor who can see beyond what we're engaged in and help us to elevate out of that pattern, but we also need someone to support us energetically so that the pattern isn't just running like an unconscious program operating without our full and complete conscious consent. I hope this is making sense. I hope this is landing. The purpose and point is to help you to start to reflect on wherever it is maybe you're in a hamster wheel. And chances are, if you're a visionary, light leader, entrepreneur, solopreneur, you probably know, at least in the physical world, because those are the things that are going to cause you to feel stuck and blocked and as if you're doing, and not really getting the results you want. Let me make this clear. The reason you're not getting the results you want is because there is something that you are unconscious of that is running the script and operating behind the scenes or unconsciously for you or through you that somehow needs to change. This is why intuitive mentorship is so helpful, because that's the stuff for me. It's really easy. I can see those patterns in people. And because of the energy work, we can clear the patterns from their energy field. It's extraordinarily successful and it's way beyond mindset shifting. And I think what's most important here is that for those of you really who are here, mission driven, heart centered, really desiring to help because you know that humanity deserves something better, because you know that the people in your audience and community deserve something more, and you want your students, your clients, your community to get next level results, that also precipitates that you must be getting next level results, that you must be able to get out of your own unconscious patterns, programs, and hamster wheel living. And to take it even a step further, when you resolve something that is part of the soul's agenda to resolve, what happens, the change that you experience internally, the up leveling that you experience is so significant that you feel like a new person, a better person than you were before, than you identified as before, that you are more filled with more the fullness and the richness of who you are, then not only go forward being freed and liberated from whatever it was that was part of that soul's agenda that was like looping, but you're freed and liberated from that. And you have so much more to offer and to contribute so that you can make the global impact and leave the lasting legacy that you're here for. Really be of service and contribution in the ways that you are truly divinely called to be here for. I hope this has been helpful. I love, love, love helping people to get unstuck, to clear those blocks, to get past those looping patterns and hamster wheel ways of operating. And of course, if you feel called to, please head over to lauriespagna.com, and through the contact page, you can request an application for a consult with me. And we can see if I can help you with that and see if our agendas are aligned in terms of helping, supporting, and assisting you along those lines, getting past your own blocks, clearing the looping patterns, and resolving those parts of the hamster wheel in your life so that you no longer need to engage with that. It's holding you back. It's not letting you be the best of who you are. And of course, because those are usually blind spots, that's the area you likely need help, support, and assistance the most. And that's what we're all here for, to help one another. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm going to release you here now, and I'm sending you so much love and so much gratitude for listening, for sharing, for participating, for contributing. And please share the podcast with others so that they can benefit too. Sharing is caring. All right, I'm sending you so much love. Farewell for now. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening today. If you loved the show and if you benefited in any way, if it helped you to up-level or expand your consciousness, if you gained any new insights or ideas, if it made you think or become more aware, or if there were some strategies or intuition that you may have benefited from in any way, would you please do me 2 easy and simple favors? First, if you would be willing to leave a review, it would mean the world to me. I'd be so grateful. And second, if you're willing to share this show with anyone else who would benefit, you can either post it on your social media or just email it to someone and share it with another person or any other people. It would be so awesome. This kind of thing is so helpful in expanding consciousness on the planet and helping others to benefit from this kind of teaching, which just simply isn't generally readily available in the mainstream. So sharing it really helps others benefit and helps our planet evolve and awaken. Plus, expressing gratitude and generosity in this way will also expand your capacity to give and receive even more. Either way, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for participating and for sharing, and overall, just for being the magnificent, the spectacular, the brilliant, the fabulous, the wonderful you that you truly are, and for allowing yourself to be the very best version of you today and every day. All my love and gratitude to you.